Look closely at the person staring back at you in the mirror. Not the clothes they wear or the tired lines around their eyes, but the spirit behind the glass. What if I told you that every single thing you see in your life right now, your bank account, the quality of your relationships, the room you are standing in, and even the heaviness in your chest is nothing more than a physical reflection of what is happening inside your mind? You aren't living in the real world. You are living in a world created by your thoughts. There was a man named Elias. Elias lived in a city that never seemed to stop raining. To him, the gray sky wasn't just weather, it was a personal insult. Every morning he woke up to the sound of water hitting the glass, and his first thought was always the same: another day of struggle, another day where nothing goes right. He would walk to his job at a local warehouse, shoulders hunched, eyes fixed on the cracked pavement. When a coworker smiled and said good morning, Elias didn't see kindness, he saw a mask. He thought, what do they want from me? Nobody is actually that happy. Elias believed the world was a cold, transactional place where the small guy always loses. And because he believed it, he found evidence for it everywhere. He noticed every rude driver, every late paycheck, and every cold glance. He was a collector of grievances. His mind was a magnet for misery, and his life was the perfect mirror of that internal chaos. He felt trapped, like a man locked in a cage where the bars were made of his own conclusions. One evening, Elias found himself sitting on a park bench, soaked to the bone. He looked at an old man sitting across from him. The old man had no umbrella. He had no fancy coat. He was just sitting there, watching the rain hit the surface of a pond. He looked peaceful. Elias, fueled by a lifetime of bitterness, walked over and asked, "How can you sit there and smile when everything is so miserable?" The old man didn't look up. He just pointed at the pond. He said, "The water isn't miserable, Elias. The water is just falling. It is the vessel it lands in that determines its shape. If it falls into a jagged, broken cup, it becomes jagged. If it falls into a clear, wide basin, it becomes a mirror of the sky. The rain is the same for both. The difference is the container." Elias scoffed. "That's just poetry. It doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't fix a broken life." The old man finally looked him in the eyes. His gaze was piercing, yet incredibly kind. "You think your life is broken, so you act like a broken man. You speak like a broken man. You treat others like they are the ones who broke you. Tell me, if you saw a man walking down the street with a loaded gun, would you be surprised if things started getting shot? Your thoughts are that gun, Elias. You are firing at your own future every single morning before you even put on your shoes." That night, Elias couldn't sleep. He went to his bathroom and looked at himself. He saw the bitterness in his own jawline. He realized that for 10 years he had been waiting for the world to change so that he could finally feel better. He was waiting for the mirror to smile first. But a mirror never smiles first. If you want to see a smile in the reflection, you have to be the one to move your lips. It started small. The next morning it was still raining. Elias felt the familiar heaviness rise in his throat. He wanted to complain. He wanted to sigh. But he stopped. He forced himself to think one different thought. The rain is feeding the earth. At least I have a roof to hear it hit. It felt fake. It felt like a lie. But he said it anyway. On his way to work, he saw the same coworker. Instead of looking away, Elias forced a nod. He didn't feel happy, but he chose to act as if he were a man who wasn't under attack. A week passed, then a month. The shift wasn't magical. He didn't win the lottery. The warehouse didn't suddenly become a palace, but something deeper was happening. Because he stopped looking for reasons to be angry, he started noticing opportunities he had been blind to for years. He noticed a help wanted sign for a supervisor position he had walked past 100 times. He had always told himself, they'll never pick me. But this time he thought, why not me? He applied. He spoke with a clarity and a confidence that he had never possessed before. Why? Because he no longer walked into the room expecting to be rejected. He walked into the room as a man who had already decided he was worthy of more. He got the job. We often think that our circumstances define our mood. We say, "I'll be happy when I get the promotion," or "I'll be at peace when the debt is gone." But the universe doesn't work that way. The universe is a mirror. It doesn't give you what you want. It reflects back to you who you are. If you are a person of lack, you will see lack everywhere. If you are a person of gratitude, you will see abundance in the smallest things. Think about your own life right now. Think about that one problem that keeps keeping you up at night. Are you looking at it as a victim or as a creator? When you tell yourself, "I can't," your brain literally shuts down the pathways that look for solutions. You have given it an order to stop working. But when you ask, "How can I?" you spark a fire. You turn on the light in a dark room. The most dangerous lie we are ever told is that we are products of our environment. You are not a product of your environment. You are a product of your thoughts about your environment. Two people can look at the exact same sunset. One sees the end of a beautiful day and feels peace. The other sees the coming of the dark and feels fear. The sun is the same. The light is the same. The only difference is the filter inside the mind. Your mind is a garden. If you do not intentionally plant seeds of strength, discipline, and vision, the weeds of doubt and fear will grow by default. They don't need your permission to grow. They only need your neglect. Stop waiting for the world to be kind to you before you decide to be great. Stop waiting for the storm to pass before you decide to dance. The mirror is waiting for you. It is standing there, cold and indifferent, waiting for you to change your expression. If you want a life filled with love, you must first become a person who loves. If you want a life of wealth, you must first develop a mind that sees value where others see nothing. You cannot fix the reflection by rubbing the glass. You have to fix the person standing in front of it. Take a deep breath. Feel the power sitting quietly behind your eyes. Your thoughts are the architects of your destiny. They are the invisible hands building the house you have to live in tomorrow. So I ask you again, look at that person in the mirror. Who are they going to be today? Because the world has no choice but to agree with whatever you decide.